My whole life they told me I was infertile. They lied, and the reason why destroyed me. My sister Marlo had her third baby last month, and my parents threw her a huge party. I've spent 22 years accepting I'd never be a mother while watching her have baby after baby. Growing up, Marlo was the beautiful one, and everyone said so constantly, right in front of me. She had the silky hair, the perfect nose, the kind of face that made strangers stop to compliment her. I was the smart one, which everyone knew meant not the pretty one. Mom entered Marlo in pageants and bought her nice clothes and took her to get her nails done. I wore hand-me-downs, and when I asked why I couldn't do pageants too, Mom said, "Those aren't really for girls like you, honey. You have other strengths." When I was 14, my parents sat me down with serious faces. Mom held my hand and said the doctors had found something at my last checkup. I would never be able to have children. She said I should focus on my studies and career because I had so much potential in other areas. I carried that grief for 22 years. Every time a relationship got serious, I'd tell them the truth and watch their face change. Some said they were okay with it, but eventually they'd admit they wanted biological kids. After the fourth man left me over it, I stopped trying. I'm 36 now. I live alone with a good career and nothing else. I've watched Marlo marry a wonderful man and have 3 children while my parents coo over every grandchild. They've never once asked why I'm still single. They seem relieved I'm alone. At the party, Marlo was glowing, talking about how the baby had the family knows, thank God. Mom laughed and glanced at me and quickly looked away. Later, I heard Mom and Marlo in the kitchen. Marlo said, "I feel bad she came alone again. It's kind of sad." Mom said, "Well, it's probably for the best." I stepped into the doorway. "What's for the best?" Mom's face flickered. She said, "Nothing, honey. I just meant you have your career. Not everyone needs a family." I said, "I didn't choose this. I can't have children, remember?" She snapped, "Not everyone is meant to be a mother. Why are you making this into a thing?" I said slowly, "You say that like it was a choice." Dead silence. Something shifted in her face. Guilt, just for a second. My stomach dropped. I said, "What was the condition called? The one the doctors found?" She stammered, "That was so long ago. I don't remember the medical term." I said, "I've never seen it in my medical records. I've requested files from every doctor I've ever had. Nothing about infertility anywhere." She said, "We asked them to keep it off your record." I said, "What was the condition, Mom?" Long, horrible silence. Marlo was staring at the floor. I turned to her. "You know something." Marlo whispered, "Mom, just tell her. This has gone on long enough." I said, "Tell me what?" Mom started crying. "We were trying to protect you. We didn't want you to get hurt." I said, "Protect me from what?" She was sobbing. "You were never going to have what Marlo had. Boys weren't going to look at you the same way. We watched you in middle school following boys who would never give you a second glance, and it broke our hearts. We thought if you believed you couldn't have children, you'd focus on school, on your career, on things you could actually achieve. We were trying to spare you." I couldn't breathe. I said, "There was never anything wrong with me." She said, "We did what we thought was best. You didn't have Marlo's advantages." I said, "You told me I was infertile because you thought I was too ugly to find a husband." She said, "We never used that word. We just knew the world is cruel to women who aren't, who don't have." I said, "I'm 36. I ended every relationship because I thought I couldn't give them children. I spent 22 years alone because you decided when I was 14 that I wasn't pretty enough to deserve a family." She reached for me. "Sweetheart, we loved you. We were trying to help." I stepped back. "I could have had a husband. I could have had children. I could have had everything Marlo has. You stole it because you looked at your teenage daughter and decided she was too ugly to reproduce." I turned to Marlo. "And you knew. You watched me cry at every one of your baby showers. You watched me spend 2 decades alone." Marlo was crying. "They made me promise. I wanted to tell you," I said, "but you didn't. You let me believe I was broken while you had everything." I walked out. Mom followed me onto the porch screaming that I was being dramatic and ungrateful and that everything they did was out of love. I got in my car and drove away. I have an appointment with a fertility specialist next week. I don't know if 36 is too late, but for the first time in my life, I'm going to find out what's actually possible for me.